Hey everybody, Tammi C. Walker, the owner of Dreams Are a Reality. I created this channel, of course, to provide light and love. How you guys doing? We having a little summer-like weather in the Chicagoland area, close to 90 today. That's not our normal weather for May. Then I did see where it's going to go back down next week, I think in the 60s. I don't know what the norm is. I would say 60 through 70, definitely not 90. I love that show, Pop the Balloon. I watched the live version, but I got my hair done yesterday with my niece, and she watches the one off of YouTube. I like that show because it shows maybe how shallow people can be. It shows the character of people. And it really makes you question, do they really want to date? Hit that like button for me. Hit subscribe, please. Thank you all so much. Now, I know me and my niece, we were talking. My niece is in her late 30s, so you all know all about me. And one lady, she was supposed to be, I'm not judging her, but she was supposed to be religious. She said, I didn't hear exactly her wording, but she definitely said, God and Jesus, I'm a Christian, something like that. So this guy comes out and she proceeded to kind of, insult him. She was like, and I think this is the same guy. Your hair, you didn't take our time to properly fix your hair better. You could have used that sponge on it, the sponge thing. Then, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been her or another lady. They were like, I don't like that jacket you picked and the shoes. This is me, my little way. I know, again, you all know me. I don't claim to be no angel and all that. But I have a problem with that. And I know this is just a show, but this show shows you how ignorant people are to me. You don't have to tear nobody down. It's clear the guy is not your type. So if I was on the show, I would probably say I just didn't feel a connection here, or I just don't feel a spark. I'm not going to tear a guy down because his hair is not how I like my man to wear their hair. I'm not going to talk about his shoes and all of that. And women, for the record, you do know you can get new shoes. You do know you can buy a new jacket. You do know that clothes are interchangeable. You all do know that. I know some people have dated or gotten married, and the lady helped their guy with his fashion sense. Maybe that's not something you want to do. I know me personally, I do prefer my man to already come, preferably with some style of fashion, but I'm not opposed to us going shopping and, helping him with his wardrobe a little bit, whatever. I guess what I'm trying to say, long story short, short story long, you got to really be sure you really are looking for love. You really want to date. If you want to tear somebody down and insult them, it's really not saying a lot about them, but it's saying everything about you, and perhaps that you're just not a good person. You're not a kind person. And we have to be more loving. My way is not your way is not mine. But even if I don't find a guy attractive, how he dresses, even if, I'm like, I don't really like how he cuts his hair, I'm not going to insult him. It's just probably not a good match for me. And it's a way you could go about saying these things without being hurtful. A guy, he was like, I just like my ladies more fit. And I looked at the lady, and no, she wasn't a size 2 or 4 or 5 or 6. She was more curvaceous. But when the camera zoomed to her, from what I could see, and camera puts 10 pounds on you, she didn't look like she had body fat. From what I could see, she was very, like I said, she was more curvaceous. But her legs were toned because she had on a dress. Her arms were toned. And maybe he liked someone smaller. But it's insulting behavior. I just hope and pray people aren't out in these streets, and I know they are, just being insulting. I'm not everybody's cup of coffee. I may not even be your cup of tea. Some men don't like curvy women, which I have become. I wasn't always this size, but I am now curvy. Some men don't like ladies with short hair. Some men don't like ladies with big eyes, a large nose. I don't know. I always say I even have big teeth. And I'm okay with that. Okay, let me give you another one. Beautiful lady. Gorgeous. She reminds me of the singer Tim's. And so this is another thing going on Pop the Balloon. If it's African American women, it's colorism going on. So the men will gravitate to the lighter ladies or, more kind of like a mixed look or the curlier hair. And then the darker skinned women, they'll bypass. So it's this gorgeous, darker skinned African American lady and pretty. She just was pretty, pretty. And so the guy, he was nice looking as well. And she ends up popping her balloon. And so the host was like, well, why did you pop your balloon? She said, I just didn't think he would be attracted to me. Come to find out, the guy ended up picking her. She got her balloon back and she got picked. But I think that's the right one. Yeah, I think so. I think. Nevertheless, don't you ever do that. If you're dark, and I know I'm not, and my dad was like dark, and my mom was light. So, I guess let me just kind of segue. I didn't realize how darker skinned men and women, more women and men, both can feel inferior. Some because again, I grew up with my dad being very dark, and he would make this comment. He would like when he would be fussing at us. He might say, "I might be big, black, and ugly, but this is my house." Which my dad was not ugly, but he was a larger frame guy, and he was dark. So it makes me think, wonder did he feel funny about his complexion? But I'm just trying to say this, and I know that this went on like in the 90s, like if you ever see Spike Lee's movie School Days, they talked about that in that movie. Spike Lee is a phenomenal director, by the way. Phenomenal. His movies have messages. They may be a little bit different. You just got to read through his movies, but he has some good movies. But even if you're dark, even if you're light, even if you're thin, even if you're curvy, even if you're a plus size, even if you're short, even if you're tall, educated, not educated, whatever. Don't you ever put yourself down because you're feeling inferior over your complexion, over the size of this or that. There's somebody for everybody, and that lady is beautiful. Skin flawless. You got to know who you are before you jump on those shows or jump out dating, because insecurity is a turnoff. And when you lack confidence, it's hard for someone to really be vibing with you or, about you when you don't even vibe about yourself. You really got to take out that time and do the self-love. You really do. And I know all of us can fall short. All of us can have low self-esteem, especially I notice after a job loss or if you gain a lot of weight or after a breakup. It really can attack your self-esteem and you start questioning who you are. But you gotta love yourself first. And I just absolutely love shows like Pop the Balloon because it shows the character of someone, and it's just a snapshot. Maybe that's not 100% the person because like one lady said, I'm very nervous. And I'm sure that the contestants are nervous that have to come out. And sometimes they barely get a word out and people are popping their balloons because they're short or how they dress or whatever. It's a tough show to be on. I wouldn't want to be on it. I don't like being judged. Like I wouldn't do a singing contest. I just don't like stuff like that. That's just not my thing. But I applaud people that are brave enough to do that. But yeah, you get on those shows or go out and date again, you gotta know who you are out the gate. And it's almost like a job interview. Some people will say, I hate interviewing for a job. I'm always so nervous. Honestly, you don't need to be because know your resume. Know your past experience. Know your education. For me, as a clinician, they'll ask, what are your clinical theories you use? What's your niche? What type of clients do you prefer. And, so I always know these questions are coming, so I'm ready for it. I know my education. I know my background. I know my skill set. I know the different software that I have used. And I'm highly confident in my career because at any given moment, I can always go back to corporate and I type 80 words per minute, at least 75 on a good day. I know, a lot of different softwares, and I was in purchasing for many years. So always be confident in your skill set with the job and with the job market. Update your resume, update your skills, get a certificate, learn something new. A lot of stuff you can learn at home. So I got my patio door open, so it's pulling in this outside noise. It's a little humid here. But yeah, I'm just really doing this quick little podcast about Pop the Balloon, but also about confidence in dating and just confidence in who you are. Always be confident and also always be kind. In this dating world, we don't have to put down somebody else because they're not our flavor. You can say it nicely. Oh, I just don't feel a connection. I don't really see a spark here. But it's not about tearing down a guy's clothing or his hair. For the record, my last guy didn't even have hair. And fine as wine. To me, fine. Excuse me. So, I don't know. Just be kind. That's all I can say. Be kind and be confident when you're out here dating. Tammi C. Walker signing off. Bye-bye.